OCB's TV, The Natural Edge. I'm your host, Sean Sully Sullivan, a retired competitive bodybuilder, but I'm here with two unretired competitive bodybuilders, my beautiful co-hosts, Jody and Aubrey. Jody, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jody Shepley Wright. I have a PhD in nutrition and enjoy helping women reshape their bodies and find peace again through nutrition and fat loss. I'm also an OCB figure pro, judge, and occasional MC and urine tester.
Hey everybody, my name is Aubrey Warwick. I am an OCB bikini pro and a TV fitness expert. I live currently in Pittsburgh, and I also I'm a transformation coach. I love helping women fall in love with who they see in the mirror. So glad to be here, guys. Ready to get started.
Hey, and getting started, we're rolling into episode 3. And we never, ever talked about what is the OCB. And it becomes an interesting question because that was brought up like, okay, yeah, you guys are OCB TV and OCB this and OCB that. And I just stumbled upon it. And what the heck is this OCB thing? And I figured it was a great place to start. I don't like manipulating the conversations when we talk about OCB stuff. And I'm probably going to talk a little more than I want to on this, only because I was there at ground zero. I am patient 1 when it comes to OCB. So the OCB started actually as it was a website, and it had a chat board. And what chat boards were, you guys probably know because you're very young, younger than me, but our listening audience, a lot of them are going to be in their 20s and go, what? That was pre-internet and having all Instagram and IMing. And what you did is you type a question into a box and it would pop up. And then about a day later, somebody would see something and jump in. Very slow. And Matt Shepley, the OCB's founder, started the OCB. That was with the OCB website. And it was all about the organization of competitive bodies. And it was for competitors from anywhere to come on and share thoughts. And it created a culture over a number of years. And then in 2003, Matt said, hey, I'm going to promote a show. And he hit me up and he's like, Sully, you're one of our moderators. You're looking at promoting a show. Do you want to promote? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna promote an OCB event. So I was the first promoter besides Matt. And at the time, we had 4 or 5 shows. And now 22 years later, we're up to 117, 118 shows, and it's just growing. But the one thing that we always try to do with the OCB was to create a culture around it. Because we realized that early on that different federations kind of have different cultures. And that's what kind of sets an organization apart. And when I look at the OCB, you can copy our policies, you can copy our procedures, you can copy our stuff that we put on our website. I see it happen all the time. There's stuff I wrote that I see on 5 other different spots. But you can't copy our culture. And so we've tried to stay true to that. And that brings me to my co-host. What have you found that distinguishes the culture of the OCB from other organizations?
Mm-hmm. I can speak to 2 things. First of all, backstage, the relationships that we have a chance to form. And I started competing when I was over 40. And I don't know. I just had this expectation that people were going to be really cutthroat backstage. And it was such a welcoming atmosphere. So that is one distinguishing factor of culture. The other is just like when OCB tests and drug tests with the urine and we do our polygraphs, they mean business. It is all 100% business. I did compete for one other org twice. And I was mortified when I checked in. They handed me my urine cup. They said, go down the hall to the restroom across from the bar, give us your urine, bring it back. That's when I went, boom, not natural. I have 1 kidney. I'm a living kidney donor. I was never going to do this sport on any other way than naturally. So with that, I just want to stand on stage on a level playing field. So those are the 2 big ones for me. How about you, Aubrey?
Oh my gosh. Well, I definitely agree with everything that you were just saying. And I really feel like it's the energy of the show and how well all the shows, how well they're organized. Because in past life, when I used to compete with another organization, as wonderful as it was back in the day, it was complete chaos and insanity where you would go on at a certain time. We would, doesn't matter wherever you flew in from, that it would say, okay, you're going to go on at noon, and it would be close to 9 p.m. and we were competing. It was crazy. So usually the OCB runs on time, if not early. So that was a huge benefit to as an athlete, as a competitor.
And it's funny because these are all the exact things that when Matt was laying down the framework for the OCB, those were four of the things they said were like the most important things is the backstage, feeling like everybody is a winner. That was another thing that we always try to bring our OCB shows is if you're always glorifying the champions and making them feel like champions, well, why is the person that came in seventh ever going to want to come back? It should be the same experience across the board. I mean, yeah, there are benefits to being a champion. You should get a slightly nicer award and a pro card and, jacket or whatever else. But the feeling that you should have should be the same, whether you're the champion or whether you were last in your class. That is your take home. The quality of the stage, all these different things. And this is what separates, because you have an organization that might have been around 10, 15, 25, 3, 1 year, however long. If they haven't already built that in to their DNA, you can't change your DNA. A banana can't be a pineapple. No matter how bad it wants to be a pineapple, it can dress like a pineapple, it's still a banana. So be true to yourself. And I think that is, we stay true to our culture. We don't try to be anybody else. And I think that's what makes bodybuilding nice, because when I competed at every organization. Even as an OCB promoter, I competed for everybody. I mean, the trophies I've got behind me, those aren't OCB trophies. They're from two different other federations. And you got to enjoy it. Like going to a restaurant. Sometimes I want Cheesecake Factory. Sometimes I want Taco Bell. It depends on it. We've tried to stay true to that.
You're a cheap date.
Right.
It's usually Cheesecake Factory. But another reason I wanted to talk a little bit about the OCB is because as of the airing of this episode, we're coming up on Matt's tragic loss 2 years ago. I was the one that got the phone call. Never forget it. Tragic loss due to a violent act, and it was something that bounced back to me when it happened, because I remember Matt telling me that with all these organizations that come and go, I want to make sure that I establish a hierarchy so that the organization can live on, and that I can build a team, a network, a system, an ecosystem, so that it's not the personality of one person. It's not one, it will continue to go on. And he took a lot of time and care in choosing his leadership team. And I say that all the time. I don't call this an ownership group. We are a leadership team. Our promoters are leaders. Our judges are leaders. Our expediters, everybody's empowered at their level to take care of business at their level. And it worked all the way up. And I could get hit by a beer truck tomorrow. In my case, it's more likely an ice cream truck, because that's probably what I'd be chasing after instead of a beer truck. And the organization will still go. There'll be no changes. And that's what happened. And I remember thinking about it, as tragic as the loss was, that was something else he set up that sets us apart, is that there's no disruption in quality, in services, in what we're doing and how we're going about it, because it's not one individual personality. And that brings me to you guys. You guys were here for a long time. Jody, you and I go back even longer than I do with Aubrey.
Yeah.
And have you noticed any differences over the last 3 or 4 years, degradation, particularly the last 2 with the loss of Matt?
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. I mean, everyone feels the void of Matt not being here. So there is that. But that aside, the quality of the shows, the first class organization of each and every promoter. I can't underscore that enough. None of that's changed. It's only gotten better, and it's gotten better with the way that we train our judges and pass the torch as we expand into other cities and countries.
I mean, Matt's legacy is living on. And as you were speaking about him, I just thought, what an amazing thing that he created. And to be able to, exit the planet in such this way, that was his gift. And it's a huge gift. It's changed so many people's lives. I mean, that's power right there.
I would be remiss if I did not turn around and say I'm not in my traditional OCB golf shirt. And that is because I'm wearing a very special OCB shirt. And on the back of it, this is
Nice.
Shepley shirt.
I love it.
I have to put a shout out to the promoter of the Cape Cod Natural, Mike Hudzik. Mike was a longtime promoter for us, knew Matt for 20 years. And Matt was a hockey fan, which is why the Yorton Cup is named after Chet Yorton, the father of bodybuilding, and Cup because he loved hockey. And so he created these at his event as an homage to Matt. And I want to bring that up because he had a lasting impact and because so many people appreciated him. And that is also part of the culture, is that we try to give appreciation back, and it works both ways. We appreciate our door greeters and our ticket sellers at an event as much as we celebrate the head judge or the MC. It's a team event. Mm-hmm. And with that, I want to bring up an event. Let's talk about the event that we had in March that we're going to be highlighting.
Okay, so today we are highlighting the Captain's Cup. So that was on March the 8th in Tampa, Florida. And the promoters, we're actually interviewing one of them today. Very special guest, were Marcus and Brittany Harris. So. All right, everybody. So joining us today is Marcus Harris. He is an OCB Men's Physique Pro, the co-promoter of the Captain's Cup in Tampa, Florida. And by the way, the 2021 Yorton Cup Champ in Men's Physique. So Marcus, thank you so much for being here today. We got some questions to ask you so that our audience can get to know you better.
All right, far away. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. I'm going to lead off, Marcus. I would love to know who inspired you to become a bodybuilder.
Sully did. Sully. I'm sorry.
That's
Really
funny.
inspired us.
So this was a little layered, but I'll make a long story like really, really short.
Yeah.
So I used to go to church with a guy, and I was still in the military, and he used to come down. He was the son of our preacher, and he was talking about this competition that he was getting ready for, and I just saw the guy come. He leave, and he come back, and he came back in like 2 months, 3 months, totally transformed his body. And I was like, oh my God, I was just intrigued by then. So he introduced me to my first contest. We did a contest together, and it's been history since then. So I just kind of got hooked on the sport, and it's just been fun for me. Changed my life.
Wow.
That's amazing. Was there any specific message that he bestowed upon you that you remember to this day? Anything unique like that?
I wish it was something like nice and warm and fuzzy, but I just knew I could like beat him, like I can do it better. So I'm like, if he could do it, I could do it, so it was that type of deal. So my competitive nature kicked in.
Nothing wrong with that.
Are you still friends with this person?
I am.
Okay,
He still
awesome.
roots me on
Does
to
he
this
still
day.
compete?
He does not compete anymore.
All right. He gave you he passed the torch. Bow
That's it.
down.
That's it.
All right. So what does your competition journey look like for this year, Marcus? I mean, you're a show promoter, and that requires a lot of time as well. But yeah, tell us a little bit about what 2025 looks like.
Spilling all the beans. What kind of
Are we
question is
loud?
that?
Are we
That's
loud?
like asking a girl. That's like asking a lady her age.
Really? Oh, you're secretive. Okay.
No, I'm really not secretive. I'm definitely 100% putting my name in the hat for the Yorton Cup this year, just
All
because
right. Okay.
it's where everybody's going. The hitters are coming out. I know a few guys
Yeah.
are gonna have
Oh, yeah.
their
20th year
minds on it.
anniversary. You gotta come.
I got to be a
Absolutely.
Big
part of it.
party.
I believe we're going to have five Yorton Cup champions in men's physique on that stage
Wow.
at the same time, battling to be a two-time Yorton Cup champion. It's going to be phenomenal.
Talk about
Yes.
a photo op.
Right?
Mhm.
It's a race to number 2, race to the second cup. So I'm here for it. I'm so ready. So ready. But
Awesome.
I may do a few things to kind of prepare, but that's kind of up in the air. But the main focus is the Yorton Cup. That's the one
Wow.
that's going to be the main driver. That's the one that everybody wants. That's the most prestigious one. That's the one that is gonna solidify everything. So yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know how winning tastes, how winning feels.
somebody's
Coming
got to
back.
do it. Somebody's got to do it.
Why
I
not
talk
you?
to those guys all the time now. A couple of those guys, we're good. We're cool. We have conversations. I had Core down. He was on the judging panel this past weekend. I had Eric Shelton. He was providing a commentary. So it's the calm before the storm right now. We're all playing as buddies right now. It's all good. Until we step on stage, and then it's game on. And then we get off the stage. We're back cool again.
Cool. You're like this perfect balance of the yin and the yang, like just to talk to you, and like very inspiring. I like this. And so who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
Yeah, who's like your gold standard? Do you have anybody up there that do you put anyone on a pedestal?
I really like, you know what? This is gonna sound, I don't know what this is gonna sound like, but I'm inspired by, like, this past weekend. I'm looking at all of the amateur. I'm inspired by the amateur athletes, the first timers, the excitement that a lot of these guys just lose because they lose focus. So guys came off the stage 5th place. Oh my God, this is the most exciting. That's what inspires me because it's the love for the sport. Like, I like the sport, like, and I coach the guys to appreciate bodybuilding in the sense that it's a progress sport. So were you better than you were last time? It's a game within a game that people talk about, and just celebrating everybody's bright spots, pulling them out, and just staying motivated and having a good headspace within the sport. So that's important to me. I'm on this big mental health kick. We're trying to avoid that midlife crisis. They say it happens around 40. I'm approaching it, and I'm like, all right, ground yourself.
I call it the midlife awakening, just so you know, instead of crisis.
I
Just
like
the power.
For
I
sure.
like it. But
Hey,
that's
tell us
what
a little
inspires
bit
me,
about-
though.
That is
new
actually,
people.
I love that response.
That's
so
great.
Tell us a little bit about the Captain's Cup. How many years have you been at it as a promoter, and what did this year event look like? I understand it was a pro-am, correct?
Yeah, so we had a pro AM, and our pro division that we selected was wellness because it was a new division a couple years ago. We've been around. This is our
Yeah.
third year that we did it, and I'm like, you know what? We're new. They're new. Let's do this. So I chose wellness, and they've been supporting. We had 5 athletes the first year that we did it, and it's our second year. We had 7 registered pro athletes, which is a good stage for me. I think that's pretty good response for
Sure.
Florida. And first year we started with 70 athletes, then we went to 85, and now we're up to 99. We have 99 athletes registered for the OCB Captain's Cup.
Hey, that's
Is
great.
that why you kept trying to get me to register? You wanted 100?
Only if you do
Coming up
men's physique.
retirement.
Only if he does men's physique.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
And
you have a
at-
dad bod. Hey, so Marcus, what do you do on the outside besides promote and being a champion? What else you got going on?
And I am a full-time girl dad, man. I'm telling you, my oldest daughter is a super competitive flag football player, Raina. And my
Wow.
youngest daughter is a competitive soccer player. They are just like mini me's, but like 10 times better. They're like the best parts of me. So
Oh,
I spend a lot of time being a dad, man. And, outside of that, I do a little bit of, coaching, but by trade, I'm a registered dietitian, and that's what I do. I work with people, who live with diabetes. I'm a diabetes education, specialist. So, yeah.
wow.
Fantastic.
Hey, as a father to two daughters, love that, man.
So I'm talking nothing like a girl dad, nothing like it.
Oh, I was my daughter's cheerleader coach. So I just want you to envision that.
What?
Yeah. Military guy, cop, and there he is, my daughter's middle school cheerleader coach.
It's the only way, Sully. It's the only way. That's the
I'm
only way
so
to
glad
invest in
that
them.
social media wasn't around during that time for you, Sully.
I have so many questions.
That
The
is
guy,
Sully.
the
You
guy-
are so amazing. Oh my gosh.
the guys that I was working with, the cops, you don't need, they need to stay off social media. I had pom-poms stuffed in my locker. I don't know how they got into my locker, but somehow they got in my locker. I opened it up and it was filled with pom-poms. Oh yeah, it was great, but it was
Gotta
fun.
love it.
You do it for the kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They never wanted
Oh,
to keep
it is so good.
Oh.
No. Hey, we got into trouble when I had them dropping their pom-poms and doing most muscular poses. That did not happen. That did not happen.
Hey, now I earned a lot of these muscles through cheerleading growing up. So
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Hey, so what do you prefer? Promoting or competing?
So I'm gonna say
Yeah.
competing.
Yeah.
Competing because the pressure to produce is I care about everybody, and then there's more people that have critiques. I don't care if people critique my physique, whatever, I don't care. But you critique my show, I'm like, I take it to heart. I want it to work out. I'm so passionate about it. I want everybody to have a good time. So, kick me through the dirt. I don't care. I'm tough. Do it to me. But I care about the people and what they say about the show. So, yeah.
I get it. I feel the same way. Like when you're competing, it's you driving yourself. But when you're promoting, it's about all of them. And if you let them down, yeah.
Exactly.
But, Marcus, in closing, I'm going to turn it over to my two co-hosts for some final questions. And like I said, I'm impressed with you, my friend. I can't wait to see you at the Yorton Cup. we're going to be checking in on you throughout the season as you chase that cup. And great job, great event. I'm glad you're on our team.
Well, I appreciate it. And I just want to say, man, I just appreciate the opportunity to be able to come over and do my stuff, with the OCB. It's been a long time coming. And somebody asked the question earlier, like, how long, has it been around? How long was it in the making? This has been in my head since I've been competing. Like, I've always wanted to promote. And then, I think I owe a large part of the success through the experiences, through all the awesome shows that I've been through the OCB, just kind of picking up here and picking up there, things that I like from this show, things I like from that show, and just kind of putting it all to one front. And I think that's been the reason for the success of the Captain's Cup, because, I'm just grabbing the experiences that I've experienced through a lot of the shows at the OCB. We got the best promoters, we have the best athletes. So I'm just, we're not anybody special. We're just doing our stuff. That's it.
Oh, well, I think I would venture to say that when you enjoy the special and you want to pass the special along, that's an incredible thing. And I think that's what the OCB is all about. So my final question for you, you're all about the mindset, and you have to give me the list later. We'll keep Eric and all the other guys from seeing this. What's one of your favorite mindset tips you want to pass along to the masses?
Don't let anybody outwork you. The person who wins is the person who typically wins is typically the person that worked the hardest. So if you didn't win, that person probably most likely outworked you. Probably wasn't genetics. It was because they freaking probably just flat out outworked you. So let that be your mentality. Be the hardest. Don't worry about being first. Be the hardest one to beat.
So good. You're speaking to my soul right now, Marcus. What's your biggest regret that you've had during competing, or something that you would want like a redo when you first started?
You know what? Because I'm not a control person, but I like to have the reins a lot, right? So I think I would have been further had I got a coach earlier in the process. So with my background being a dietitian, I'm like, oh, those freaking coaches don't know nothing about no nutrition. They just giving me this fluff diets and blah, 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 blah. But no, bodybuilding has a different component to it. There's a peaking component. There's a mental component. There's a lot of different components to it. So you can teach an old dog new tricks. So get a coach early. Don't waste any time.
It was a pleasure getting to know you, Marcus. I really love your personality, and I'm sure I could speak the same that Jody and Sully think that. So we hope you have the best day possible. And I am looking forward to meeting you in person, because you're like a legend now to me.
Love it. I look forward to it as well. Thank you all for having me. It's been a phenomenal podcast event, and looking forward to seeing it when it airs.
Thanks,
Thank you, Marcus.
All right.
We'll see you at the Cup.
See ya.
I want to talk a little bit about our off-season nutrition. What's important, what's not? What are your pro tips on that? So speaking specifically off-season nutrition, Jody, what tips do you have on that?
Yeah, I have a PhD in nutrition. So there's theoretical and academic nutrition. And then there's the actual, like, being an athlete and going through the reverse process. My personal experience after having done a number of shows is the longer that I prep, the tougher the reverse has been for me. That when you're following my macros this is one area I am to the gram each and every day in prep. I make that happen. But the minute you step off stage, it almost feels like the game Candyland. You can almost have anything and everything and all the possibilities. And I'm a hungry person after a show. So I have found that the longer that I've been in prep, the harder that reverse has been for me. So it's usually a fight for me to keep my food reined in those first 2 or 3 weeks after a show. But I have a plan. I have a protocol. I try to increase food gradually. This last time, Coach Joe said, you know what? You're hungry. Honor the food. Let's just jump these calories to where they need to be. So we made a game day decision to do that. And that's what I needed. So everybody's an individual. Those are my personal successes and struggles. I think you have to listen to your body each and every show. Have a plan, but be ready for that plan to alter.
Yeah.
How about you, Aubrey? Off-season nutrition.
Oh gosh. I would say, similar to you, Jody, it's a matter of I've learned a lot over the years with my relationship with food, and I continue to learn. And I'm practicing what I preach, and I also really work a lot with women one-on-one on their nutrition. And I think that my main goal, honestly, other than I want to have hypertrophy, I want to see progress, right? Through using food. I view food like this. You say like food is fuel. I view it like it's clay, and like I'm the statue and I'm just putting the clay where I want it to go. And I really focus on digestion, and I'm choosing foods that are really making sure that are they digesting well? Am I inflaming my body? I do a lot of, I work with a functional medicine specialist to make sure that my hormone levels are good, that my blood work is good. So I think my main focus is really, I would say, how I feel, and looking at the data in terms of like, again, what is going on underneath it all.
Great.
That is so apropos, food selection. So I think that I have two pro tips for off season I'm going to recommend. And first and foremost is food selection, the foods that you are actually going to be eating. I see so many times somebody sees a food item on, diet du jour, or even if it comes from your coach, and you just start eating it and you have bad responses to it and you can't figure it out. I remember a book came out, I want to say it was 88, 89. I'm really showing my age here. And I read it was something about eating for your blood type.
Yeah. I did that.
Studying genetics at the time, and in studying human history, what I studied was how humans evolved as tribes.
Yeah.
And I tried to tie all this in together. Now we know eating for a blood type, back when the data was released back then, it was kind of there, but not 100%. Now we realize it's all genetics. Now we realize you have a genetic predisposition for what foods benefit you the best. And you can't predetermine it on a lot of simple things. And I was working with a coach at the time. He had recommended that you eat something for about a month and you record how it makes you feel. If it makes you feel bloated all the time, if you're flatulent,
right,
and if you feel sluggish, that's not the best food for you, be it a protein, a carb, a fruit, a vegetable. So going through that process, you need to take the time to do your homework, to keep that log, to find out what foods actually benefit you and which foods don't benefit you, because that goes a long way. Because the better you digest, you said it, Aubrey, the better you digest and the better you absorb a nutrient, the more effective it's going to be for your performance and for your training. And so you got to go through that cycle. You got to do that baby step thing in the off season. And the second thing was that bulking up is an absolute falsehood. People try to eat too much to put muscle on, or they don't eat enough to put muscle on. People are either afraid to eat because they're afraid to get fat, or they think they can eat anything and they get fat, and then they call it bulking up. Well, I remember the time I bulked up. It took me 2 years to diet down for a show after that, and never again. So trying to find the right amount of calories that you need to synthesize muscle growth in your off season. And it would be surprising. It might not be as many as you think. I found that for me, a 500 calorie surplus to an 800 calorie surplus was enough for me to consistently put on lean muscle tissue and to recover from my workouts without gaining a lot of adipose tissue, a lot of fat. I found that was my magic. That was me, individual me. Other people, it could be 2,000 calories. Other people could be 500. But again, that goes on monitoring and taking the time to build that template. And I say this all the time. In this sport, if you don't have a map and a compass when you start, you're going to get lost in the journey. So you need to baseline your diet. You need to find your foods. You need to find out what your proper macronutrient level is that works for you in the off season. and that what's going to work for you pre-contest can be, we'll get into that in a later episode, but you need to find all these things that work before you turn around and say, hey, off season, I'm going to contest mode, bang, flick a switch, because you can do a lot of metabolic harm to yourself if you go through the process the wrong way, going from off season into contest or going from contest back into off season. Any food for thought on that?
Correct. Just the number of women who reach out to me after they've really suffered post show. And I'm sure Aubrey can speak to this as well. I know that it exists because women reach out to me, and you know, they've, as an example, eaten sweet potatoes so much that they've developed a sensitivity to it.
Yes.
I could list 100 examples, but just that's how I know this is going to be a topic that we're probably going to continue to talk about.
Yeah, I think that, we can really dive into this and the reasons why that becomes an issue.
Sure. Sure. Well, nutrition is just highly individual. And to the extent that we can stay in our own lane and do what works best for us, learn what that is, take the time, that's going to serve you so much better than doing what the influencers do.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up with a final comment on our pro tip.
Okay, I'll go. I guess I would say final pro tip with food is, I think, to remember that you can't manage what you don't measure. Not my quote, Tony Robbins. Tossing it to you, Jody.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say a version of that, and it is inspect what you expect. So with your nutrition, with your measurements, with your scale, few people want to step on the scale, and I'll raise my hand after a show. We don't like to see that number go up.
Yeah.
But in order for you to get comprehensive feedback, you need to know that what's going in, how that's translating, what you're putting in your body is translating physically so that you can make the appropriate adjustments.
Yeah.
And my tip is don't get lost in the minutia and lose the consistency. Sometimes people get so wrapped up with trying to measure everything and record everything. Only record as much as you need to keep yourself on track.
Amen. You get some snaps to that. All right.
All right. And if you would like to snap for that, then stop snapping long enough to go down in that little thumbs up button over there and give us a thumbs up. Or subscribe to the channel. You'll know when we drop a new episode. And hey, if you want to reach out to us, comments below. Our Instagram page, go to the OCB official page, pop in an IM message, I will get it, or find me Sulcop96 on Instagram and hit me up with an IM. But we want your topics, we want your ideas, we want you, if you have somebody that you'd like us to interview, or if you think that you have something that you would like to say, bring it on, bring it on. We want to hear from you. We don't want to talk at you, we want to talk with you. And with that, my closing comment is, remember, God created you with 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. Use them wisely. Train hard, be safe, stay natural. See you in the next episode.